Hey, beautiful soul. Welcome to Spirit Speakeasy. I'm Joy Giovanni, Joyful Medium. I'm a working psychic medium, energy healer, and spiritual gifts mentor. This podcast is like a seat at the table in a secret club, but with mediums, mystics, and the spiritual luminaries of our time. So come behind the velvet ropes with me and see inside my world as I chat insider style with profoundly gifted souls. We go deep, share juicy stories, laugh a lot, and it wouldn't be a speakeasy without great insider secrets and tips. You might even learn that you have some gifts of your own. So step inside the Spirit Speakeasy. Hey, beautiful soul, welcome back or welcome in for another episode of Spirit Speakeasy. Today we are going to be continuing our Archangel series, Healing with the Angelic Realm, and we're going to be focusing on Archangel Chamuel. He can do so many things for us and in our world, and in just a moment we're going to dive in so you can learn all about Archangel Chamuel, what he can help you with, how you can build a relationship with him. And as we have been doing with all of our Archangel series, we will do a little exercise at the end so you can have a practice, something to start working with. It's great to learn about these things and, of course, lots of fun, but I try to incorporate practices into our work because I don't know. I like a real world application. I like some tools. I like something I can actually work with in a real and tangible way. So I am really excited. Chamuel was actually one of the first archangels that I started working with. We have already worked our way through, I'm going to try not to forget anyone, Archangel Metatron, we have done in this series. We've worked with Archangel Raphael, Metatron, Haniel, and I'm leaving one out because I feel like we've done 4 before this. So make sure if you haven't heard any of those and you're curious, go back through those old episodes. I've titled them all Healing with or Working with the Angelic Realm and then the Archangel's name so you can find them more easily. But I wanted to read this quote as we're starting with this Archangel Chamuel episode. And Chamuel is Chamuel. You could say it however you like. I've noticed and learned over time that guides and angels, they're not really attached to the way we pronounce their names. So this quote is, I believe there are beings of the highest truth and compassion working on our behalf to guide our thoughts and energy back to love. They are not physical. They are not bound by the natural laws of this world. They are spiritual beings. These beings come in many forms and they have different purposes, but their common goal is to help us back into alignment with the love of the universe. That's from Super Attractor, a book by Gabby Bernstein, and that is part of chapter 6 if you are taking notes. And I just love that description. If you've been with me through this angel series that we've been doing, and by the way, I'm so surprised that you guys really love these angel episodes. So please continue to let me know what you're loving and what you want to learn about. I consider us a community, and we're in partnership, you and I, with what I want to talk about and what you want to hear about. So I've struggled, like I said, over these last episodes to try to figure out a way to explain the energies, the light beings that I understand as these angels, because I know the word angel can get a little sticky for some people and can feel associated with a religion. The way that I want to talk about and teach about these archangels doesn't require you to have any belief system at all, and certainly no specific belief system. And the other thing, even though I've said this before, that I like to remind everyone of is angels, because they're not a human being, they're a light being, they're angelic beings, they don't have gender in the way that we assign it or understand it here on Earth, but they do have divine masculine and feminine energy as part of their makeup. And the angels tend to feel, quote unquote, feel more masculine or more feminine in the energy, not as a gender assignment. So Chamuel for me, and I feel like for most people, tends to feel more masculine. Someone is racing a motorcycle outside. Tends to feel more masculine energy. So I will refer to him as he, but try not to get attached to that because in the most technical way, they don't have a gender assignment in that way. I do like to dive a little bit into the origin of the name just because I think it's interesting. What the name Chamuel actually means is one who seeks God or one who seeks divinity, he who seeks God. The Hebrew origin is spelled Khamuel, Chamuel, and we say it Chamuel, or you can say it however you like I said. For me, this is the energy of seeing the divine in everyone, in every situation, deeply knowing that we are all one, that we are all equal, that we are each a soul of equal value, because this is the path to true peace. So for me, that is how I understand Chamuel's name, one who seeks divinity. It's seeking that divinity or understanding, deeply identifying that divinity in everyone, every situation. This sense that we are all a soul of equal value, of equal importance. We are all equally special, perhaps in different ways, because this is the path to true peace. Chamuel has a couple of main roles, which we're going to dive into a little bit later, but I just want to touch on them now because I think it helps as you're processing this information. Two of the main roles that Chamuel has is one, bringer of peace. So it's why it's so important, the seeking divinity in everything, or seeking, the heart of God, basically, or whatever word you like in there, spirit, universal truth, because this is the path to true peace. So world peace is one of Chamuel's very important missions, just this depth of peace. And the other is finding lost things. Now, that might sound really simple, but that can mean so many things. And we're going to dive into that a little bit later. But first, I want to touch into the history of Chamuel. He is often considered one of the main seven archangels. When we hear about the seven main archangels, he's on that list in most accounts. But he seems to be, for some reason, a little bit lesser known and lesser spoken about, even though it's fascinating to me that he appears in Orthodox Christianity, Catholicism, Judaism, Kabbalah, and Islam. All of these religions, he appears. But for some reason, he's just a little bit less discussed or talked about, than someone like Archangel Raphael or Archangel Michael. And to be clear, I just like to say this again, we all have different beliefs, and I'm mentioning these various systems of faith in no particular order and with the intention of just educating us, understanding us, and with the deepest respect to everyone's faith and beliefs. I just want to throw in here any errors or omissions are totally unintentional, and please email me to correct or further inform me if I have gotten something wrong. Like if one of these faiths is your faith and you're like, oh, that's not quite right, I'm happy to have correction. I really personally am a lifelong student and a person of personal faith. And I just find it intriguing that we see many of the angels across various faith communities. Each faith has their own separate set of beliefs, but to me, there's something fascinating about beliefs or beings that are seen across multiple faith communities. I just find that fascinating. I don't know if I've talked about this before. I got my little cup of coffee still, so excuse me while I take a sip. I'm still getting the caffeine in me for the day. I studied world religions. I've studied lots of religions just because I find it all so fascinating. And those through threads, like I was saying, are really fascinating to me. So if you're interested in further researching how the various religions have Archangel Chamuel placed within their system, please go ahead and research on your own. I'm just going to give you some tidbits just to start framing this in context for you, and just so you can understand a little bit more about where you may have seen him in religious text or have heard about him, perhaps culturally. He's considered the guardian of the Garden of Gethsemane, which is the Adam and Eve garden, for those who don't know. He appeared also to Jesus in that garden in the story at the end of Jesus's life about how he goes to the Garden of Gethsemane to pray. Archangel Chamuel would have been that garden in that angel in that garden as well. And there's a story, Jesus and the Angel of Gethsemane. That's Archangel Chamuel. And in Kabbalah, he oversees one of the branches of the tree of life. In that faith, there's tree of life with the branches of the creative forces of life, and he is responsible for overseeing the creative force of strength. So he's in charge of one of the branches on that tree of life. As the angel of peaceful relationships, Chamuel exercises tough love to strengthen relationships so that people can experience peace within themselves, with each other, and with God. He helps us learn our earthly lessons as one of the other things that he does. And of course, I will link sources of where I have found these details for you in the show notes if you're curious to dive a little deeper. Like I said, I'm just a bit of a nerd for this stuff and I find it quite fascinating. What else is Chamuel known for? So he is known, like I said, for peace as an overarching theme, but also things like serenity and devotion, strength, courage, compassion, and finding the lost. So, Archangel Chamuel's mission is to help bring peace to this world. You can call on him when you're suffering from things like anxiety, right? So, think of like if someone, or I mean, someone, that's the other thing. I digress. A lot of this for me in this work is about building personal relationships with these angels, guides, what have you, because it's really in the personal relationship that we're able to call on them to work with them when we need them. Think of it as, even if you have like an urgent situation you want to call on him, you can do that, but it's just not as powerful in the feeling of it, in the experience of it for you if you don't have a relationship. Now, it's not to say you can't work with them in a casual way because you can, but the depth of relationship building is available to you with all of these archangels. They're available to everyone equally all the time. So don't feel like you're pulling them away from their overall mission or for something else you want to be doing. But if you are struggling or suffering, I work with Chamuel on and off in a pretty regular way. There have been periods of time where he's been a big part of one of the guides that I'm working with, and other times where he kind of recedes into the background and then will, rise again, just like a friend is how I think of it, where you might have a friend that you are with pretty frequently, and then you guys just get busy and are doing other things, and then you catch up and are coming back together again. That for me is how I approach the relationships with the different archangels. So again, you could do your spiritual practice your own way, but just know that that level of connection is available to you no matter who you are or what your experience level is. It's one of the beautiful things about angels is they're so accessible to everyone. So think of the things that are the opposite of peace, and that is a big piece of what he helps with. Things like I was saying, suffering from anxiety, struggling in a relationship, whether it's a personal relationship, whether it's a relationship with food, with money, with self criticism, whether it's a relationship with another human being, a close relationship like a partnership or a parental child relationship, or whether it's an outer layer relationship like your relationship with your boss or your relationship to work, for example. So, really, as we're talking, just be letting your mind open. And this is part of the beauty of the journey is as you build a relationship with Shamuel, he will help to inspire you about additional things that he can help you with, help to expand your mind about like, okay, well, if he helps with bringing peace, what other areas can that apply to? What's, and we don't often think of someone like Shamuel who has a mission of world peace, helping with my anxiety. But yes, of course, because that's the opposite of peace. And we all have, as corny as this might sound, we all have this energetic contribution that we're bringing multi-layered, right, to the world at large, to our own community, to our own home and workplace, to the groups that we belong to. We bring an energetic contribution. And if many more of us in a genuine and real way were able to bring peace rather than anxiety, how might that shift things overall? You can call on Chamuel if you're having a hard time forgiving someone, for example. And, well, I don't want to go on a tangent on this, but forgiving doesn't necessarily mean forgetting. It just means releasing yourself from having to hold that pain. Call and lean on Chamuel for support during difficult times. He can not only boost our courage when we feel defeated or alone, he can inspire us with finding what direction to go. So, this is a little bit tipping into the finding lost things, right? It doesn't only mean, a lot of times our human mind wants to be very literal, like, oh, finding my keys. And while, yeah, sure, he can help with that sometimes, he can also help with these bigger overarching themes or emotions about finding something that we're lost or missing, finding your direction. If you're feeling a little directionless, that's kind of been a common theme in clients that I'm seeing in the office recently. People just feeling like, I've been marching down this path in this direction in this career, and something just isn't resonating with me anymore. I feel like I've lost it a little bit. I feel like I've lost my way, even though maybe you're working, maybe you have a family, maybe you have some things in place and you feel like you should be feeling great about it, but something's missing. He can help you find what that is, finding your direction, finding your path, finding the words to say, directing you to find material to read, to listen to, or to study, to help you on this path. He can help you figure out how to make peace with challenges, right? Because it's not just, there are many ingredients that go into world peace. It's not just like he can put this blanket over the world and create world peace. It really has to come from all the communities of the world at once to create this world peace. So he can really help you make peace with challenges, great and small, in your own life. He's also the archangel to call on if you're working through endings and beginnings of any kind. Now, as we've talked about with this 8-year, we're in a big transition. And last week, if you listen to the June to December 2024 astrological predictions with Chital, you will know that this is a corridor year. We are in this kind of hallway of a year, and a lot of us this year and even into next year will be working through endings and beginnings of many kinds. This could be as simple as you're closing one chapter on something that used to be a part of your life that's not. It could be a relationship, it could be a move of home, but it could also just be you kind of letting go pieces of things that aren't serving you. The thing that keeps springing to my mind as I'm talking is working on shifting from this idea of reaction to response, right? So maybe you're trying to have a transition or an ending and beginning with road rage, for example, and you're trying to release that reaction of rage when someone cuts you off and shift into this more peaceful response. He can help you with that. So it's really just using your imagination, your creativity, and letting yourself expand what these words mean. What does it mean to find something that's lost? Well, we could lose a lot of things. We can lose sight of ourselves even. So he can really help with that. Endings and beginnings of any kind, including challenges or communication challenges in partnership, relationships of any kind, like I mentioned, marriage, also healing after a breakup. And that can be a romantic breakup, but it could also be a breakup of a work partnership. It can be even if you and a friend are just drifting apart, or you've discovered, oh, you know what, this person's behavior is just not the healthiest for me. I'm going to distance myself. He can help you to move through that in a peaceful way and to bring healing. Also, during transitions or your desire to bring peace to any type of relationship. So maybe you're not exiting the relationship, maybe you are, but you're just wanting peace in the relationship. Maybe it's someone that is, I'm thinking of a client I had this week that is trying to sort out dealing with a challenging in-law. And this relationship's a part of their world, even though they didn't necessarily directly choose it, right? They're not partnered with this in-law. It just kind of comes with the package, but they're wanting to bring peace to this relationship. So Archangel Chamuel can help with that. His presence is very important on a global societal scale too. If you want to heal division or separation within communities, to find common ground, to restore oneness, call on Archangel Chamuel. And we know that in our world, particularly in the United States and North America, there is a strong potential in the energy for unrest in the fall. And that's not to say that there's not a strong potential in other parts of the world, because there are. But as we go through this transition as a society, we can call on Archangel Chamuel to help to bring peace to us as individuals, help to bring peace to situations, but also help to highlight what we're missing, right? Are we missing an opportunity for connection through this unrest or transitional phase? Are we missing, right? Because it's not just lost, it's also missing, right? So are we missing an opportunity for healing or growth? Are we missing an opportunity to help someone else or to bring healing to someone else? So there really are, even though it sounds like only a few things that he helps with, the ways that those topics can unfold are pretty endless. I mean, I think we could sit here and brainstorm all day, the lost things that he can help us find, for example. And like I said, it could be, oh, I lost my, necklace and I can't find it. He can also help with things like that. But I just invite you to work with him on some of the bigger emotional themes, things like to find compassion. Maybe you're struggling to find compassion for someone that's a really tough person in your space, to find healing, right? Maybe you're healing through a situation. Maybe you're healing past traumas. Maybe you're healing physically. He can help to find healing, including not just the healing element of it, but the cooperative components for your healing. So, for example, perhaps you're on a health and healing journey. I really keep thinking of so many different clients today, which is interesting. It's not always the way it is for me. So I know that he's here helping me, which is this kind of interesting as it's happening in real time. Taking a sip again, sorry. But this healing journey in this example, while Shamuel can also help you to find some of the ingredients, can help you to lead you to, like I was saying, information to read, things to look at or study, collaborative practitioners to help with your healing journey, working with your own intuition around listening to your body to find peace and homeostasis as part of this healing journey. So it's not just the healing itself, but all of the additional components that you might need. He can help you to find them. He can help you to find a job. One of our lovely listeners emailed me recently that they painstakingly decided that their job was really unhealthy for them and was able to come to a decision to release it. So they know who they are. Lots of love to you and those of you who might be looking for a job or even a side hustle or even some additional, money coming in. Ask Archangel Chamuel to help. He can help you to find yourself. Maybe you've just lost yourself a little bit. Maybe you've come through a transition and, a divorce, a kid growing up and moving out, the loss of a loved one. And maybe through that journey, you've lost yourself a little bit, or you're just feeling like you need to figure out who this new version of you is. Archangel Chamuel can support you with that. He can help you to find peaceful solutions in situations. Sometimes there's not a situation where everyone's going to agree on the answer, but we can come to a peaceful compromise, a peaceful solution. So he can help with all of this and more. Finder of lost things in any area. And like I said, it can go from anything from items to yourself, to finding hope, to finding inspiration. Maybe there's a creative project you need to move forward and you're just feeling a little uninspired. I know that at the Speakeasy table, a lot of you are wanting to write a book, to write blogs, those kind of things. He can help you to find the inspiration to write. Now, as a little reminder, as we're talking about all this, remember, angels, archangels, guides are bound by our free will choices and our highest and greatest good. And it is not a magic wand. I like to say that a lot because I think a lot of times we think, oh, okay, so I'm going to do this meditation and then magically this job is going to appear and I'm going to just step right into it like a magic wand. It's not really how it works. So, in this job example, you're working with Archangel Chamuel, let's say, he might inspire you to change some things on your resume. He might then inspire you to look at a job posting board that you hadn't considered before, or look at a different way at using your skill set applied to a field that you feel like, oh, how does this, tech work that I understand how to do apply to medicine, for example? So you will have free will contribution all along the way. And it's you using those inspirations to then go ahead and rework your resume, go ahead and look on those additional job boards. And it could even be someone that comes into your space, into your life, maybe someone you run into at the grocery store that says, oh yeah, you know what, I was talking to this person and they said this. And then you become curious and say, oh, you know what, can you introduce us? I'd love to ask them some questions about that. That's a way that Archangel Chamuel can be helping to get you to the store at the same person at that time, get you to connect, get that conversation to happen, get them to share that tidbit, get you the information, and then you've got to follow up and take the action step to connect with that person, for example, to be open and honest and ask your questions or talk about the opportunity that you're looking for. So, not a magic wand. That's my little tangent for that. And the truth is, I know we all wish that there were magic wands for us in this world. I certainly do. I'm not a perfect person, and we all have things that pop off in our lives, right? But for me, yeah, of course, there's times where I just want a magic wand to fix everything and to put me in a different place where everything is settled and wonderful, but it doesn't work that way. And the truth is, on a grander scale, like, that's not why we're here having this human experience. So, not a magic wand. You've got free will choice, and you've got free will choice moment by moment along the way. So not only do you have free will choice, to even work with Chamuel, but you have free will choice when you do receive the tiny, soft, subtle nudges of inspiration. Are you going to dismiss them, or are you going to give it a try? So lots of free will contribution from all of us as part of this work, and not a magic wand. But that being said, Chamuel has helped me not only to find like physical objects that I've lost, but to find all the other things that we've just talked about. So I want to talk a little bit about how you might recognize him, the colors associated with him. Now, in the bit of research that I did for this, let me just back up a second. The way I do it personally, with archangels, for example, or with ascended masters, I like to have an experience myself first with them. So, kind of inviting them in a meditation, sitting with them, seeing what information I receive or perceive, what I understand about them. And then later, I will go and do the research. It's okay to do it however you like to do it in your own work. That's just how I like to do it, because I like that little bit of extra validation that then I go research and I see, oh, okay, like that's true, or a lot of people have reported that. But it doesn't mean that you have to take what everybody else says. It's one of the other reasons for having your own experiences, right? Play with this yourself and see how you feel. So many people, as I'm kind of doing a little bit of research for this, I have my own experience, but I like to know what other people experience too, because sometimes it's different. Many people report feeling or sensing or seeing or understanding soft pinks with Chamuel. Others have reported like a pale green. For me personally, in my work, and this might differ for you, and that's okay. Even if it's a totally different color that you receive him in, that's okay. It's just a little bit of a guideline, a little bit of something to get you started. I've always experienced Chamuel in kind of this yellow green swirl of moving color and energy, with some shades of not only yellows and greens on the paler, more fluorescent side, but also golds and shimmering tones of these kind of swirling into like a lime green glow. But that is just me. So it doesn't have to be that for you. And you don't even have to receive a color with him. I know we all work a little differently. So I just like to give you some different ways that you might experience him. Some people have said he appears to them as a leopard crouched on a rock, which I think is fascinating. So, if you've worked with a signs course, if you haven't, please get the signs course. It's totally free, right on the homepage of my workshop, or right on the homepage of my website. It's a 3-day free workshop. It's like 15-minute lessons, mini course. You can even use the leopard as a sign in the world for you with Archangel Chamuel to say, like, okay, show me leopards when you're near or when you're trying to get my attention. So some people have said he appears to them as a leopard crouched on a rock. And what's funny is after I read that, I played with it because you guys know I like to get my hands in there and play with this stuff myself to just see my experience with it. And I was able to receive signs in the world from Chamuel, the sign of a leopard, which I was like, oh, this is really cool. I hadn't considered, this sign for him before. In artwork, he is sometimes depicted as holding a heart or with a heart, like having a heart shape on his chest in like a pink or green or light green or pale yellows and golds. So if you see a depiction of an angel that has like a heart on his chest or that is holding a heart or holding a globe, that's probably a depiction of Archangel Chamuel. You'd have to ask the artist probably, but a lot of times that's how he's depicted in artwork. I personally have also had him send me feathers or place feathers across my path as a sign. So you can work with him that way. There are some stones for those of you that like to work with crystals or stones. You can use stones like rose quartz or green fluorite. I also like green jade if you've got some, and citrine, which is kind of a yellowish stone, and also pyrite, which are the stones that look like little hunks of gold. And there's another stone called the All Healer or the Golden Healer Quartz, which is this really beautiful, deep yellow, almost. I'm trying to think of like, it's a very golden, deep yellow that this this quartz has to it, and it's called Golden Healer. So if you're feeling fancy, you could get some of that depending on what your access is. But I also like things like simple sea glass or glass beads for this type of work with him too. And how would you use these stones? You could wear it. You could carry a little bit in your pocket. You could place it on like a shelf or an altar space if you've got one. I sometimes will place special stones on my desk right here beside me or on shelves I have in various places in my home. And it's really just to remind you, if you're into crystal grids, you could work some of the stones that represent him into the crystal grid if you're working on it. But any type of work you're doing with, the meditation and like the stones with him, it should feel light. It should feel easy. It should feel enjoyable and fun, not like a chore or a job. If you're doing something that's like a ritual or, like say you want to do a crystal grid, which is sometimes when you see, I know some of you know what crystal grids are. For those that don't, it's basically usually some sort of mat or paper that has some sort of sacred geometry or circle or shape drawn on it, and then the stones are placed onto that shape to support an intention. Usually, is essentially what it is. But it shouldn't feel oppressive and stressful. It should feel fun. It shouldn't feel like a chore. So if it's feeling like a chore, just release that and go a different direction. And that's why I say, like, you could even just toss a little stone in your pocket about it. And it could be the color that you feel represents him, or it could just be a stone that reminds you to touch in with him throughout the day. It doesn't have to be, it can be light and playful and fun. And actually that's the direction to go. I'm going to take a quick sip again. Okay. So Chamuel is really, I don't know. I think he's really fun, even though he definitely has a more seriousness or solidness to him. It's not even quite the right word. I don't know what word I want to use here, but Archangel Metatron to me feels more playful, more a little more rock and roll, where Archangel Chamuel to me feels very solid, very grounded, very steady, very like slow and steady wins the race. And I don't mean it in a way that his action is slow, because I don't find that to be the case, but there's a there's a pace to him that feels very slow and steady, just in the energy that he brings. In just a moment here, we're going to slip into this exercise, because I think sometimes the best way to feel or to understand is just to do, right? Just to practice and play. And the other thing is, with these exercises, don't put pressure on yourself. Just let yourself have an experience. You might feel like nothing happened, but over time, and when you're the way I often say it here is like looking in the right direction, meaning sometimes we think it's going to be something that it's not. These experiences, this is subtle energy that we're working with. This is non-physical energy. So just like we don't expect to suddenly start seeing the Wi-Fi waves of our internet in our living room, don't expect this to be like lightning striking down in front of you. Expect it to be soft and subtle. So if you're looking for or available for the soft subtlety of the experience, that's what I mean when I'm saying like look in the right place. It's we can miss it because it can be so subtle if we're looking for something that is like hit us over the head energy. His energy is not like that. It is very solid and peace. I mean, there's a depth of peace with him if he's bringer of world peace, right? In just a second, like I said, we're going to slip into this exercise, but I'm so curious to hear your experience with him. If you end up playing with him later, if you start to do a relationship building with him, and let's just touch into quickly, what does that look like, relationship building? That could look like you spending 5 or 10 minutes in meditation with him every day for a few weeks. It could look like you a couple times a week taking a special walk with him, for example. You could say, okay, I'm gonna go outside and take a 10-minute walk, and this is gonna be my Chamuel walk, and I'm gonna imagine him walking beside me, and I'm gonna ask him to show me, um, things that are yellow and green when I'm outside, so I can start to feel him and build a relationship with him. It could be as simple as that. So it really is just creating little opportunities in an intentional and conscious way. He is always working in the background if you've asked him to, with your free will ask. But I like it to be in a more conscious, intentional way, so that when you do lose your keys, you can call on him and say, like, Archangel Chamuel, help me, direct me to find my keys, for example. And you'll already be able to sense him in the room or in your space. And I'm hesitating to say that because I know sometimes when I say feel him or sense him in your space, again, our mind goes to like a person in a physical body entering a room where we can palpably feel them. And it's much, much, much more subtle than that. So that is just something I wanted to share. Okay. So if you are somewhere safe to do so, we are going to slip into just a short meditation, just a short experience. If you are driving or somewhere where it is not safe to close your eyes, I would suggest please don't drive and do a meditation. Even if you think you can, it is not advisable. It is dangerous. Don't do it. Ask Chamuel to help you find some time later to practice this experience. Again, right? Finding things that you need to find. So, yeah. So good time to pause if you are at a place where it's not good to meditate. If you are able to close your eyes, that is what we are going to do right now. So just let's take a moment. Start to let your eyes gently rest closed, just with an ease. No need to be forceful with yourself. Good. And moving your attention, your awareness right into the center of your head. Saying hello to that auric field, that personal space bubble that we all have. Good. And just start to let yourself become aware of your breath. Just that gentle inhale and exhale. Not needing to change it or control it in any way, but just letting that breath bring you fully present into this moment. Anything else can just fade away, and you can have this little time to have this experience for yourself. And you can return to this recording anytime to practice again until you understand the meditation, and then you don't even need the recording. You can do it all on your own. Good. And as you breathe, I just want you to imagine that light of your heart light. And we all have this soul essence within us. And sometimes we can imagine it from the core of our being or the base of our spine. But for now, just imagine it like this light from within your heart space shining out. And let that light start to expand in all directions, not just from the front, but also back, side, up, down. Letting this heart light of your soul expand all around you. Nothing you need to do to make this happen, just your intention is enough, and you can just imagine it happening, and that's enough. Good. And then from off in the distance, from one side or the other, start to become aware of a beautiful lime green gold light, almost like a little light bulb off in the distance. And just become aware of which side it's from. Is it from the front, left, right, back, front and slightly right, front and slightly left, any direction that you want to become aware of this light of Chamuel. And breath by breath, just imagine, intend, know that this light of Chamuel is coming closer and closer and closer until he's right next to you, this beautiful light. And just use your imagination. It's the closest faculty to your clairvoyance, to your clairsentience. And just get a sense of Archangel Chamuel next to you. Where does he stand or sit in your space? Again, is he to the right, to the left, slightly in back, slightly in front, directly in back or front? And it'll be ever so subtle. Good. And as you breathe, just invite Archangel Chamuel to share with you some of his peace. See if you can feel the essence of peace in him beside you. And it might feel just like a steady tree or a steady rock. But just feeling this energy, this essence of divine peace right beside you, in one direction from Chamuel towards you. Good. And now with your intention, with your free will, just invite Chamuel to expand that peace around you, almost like a beautiful ribbon wrapping around, gently caressing your heart space. And see if you can feel him sending that peace directly around your heart space. Maybe your breathing is settled. Maybe you're feeling just slightly more calm. Maybe you're feeling somehow solid or grounded. Good. And then ask him, invite him, imagine him also expanding this energy of peace and wrapping it around the place where you think. So maybe for you, that's your physical forehead. Maybe it's this idea of mental energy for you. But that monkey mind space where you worry, where you create more anxiety, just asking him to infuse, wrap up, caress that area with this deep peace that he has, this profound peace that goes beyond words, that goes beyond logic, the peace of divinity, the peace of the way that he truly sees you and sees that divinity in you. Remember, he is seeker and seer of divinity, of God's source in everyone and everything. Let yourself feel him seeing you and start to feel that peace setting into your monkey mind, your thinking space. Good. And just breathe here, just a few breaths, feeling him beside you. Good. And in future versions of this little exercise, if there is a request that you have, something you're wanting him to partner with you to help you with, something you're wanting help finding or seeking or knowing, you could insert it here, gently requesting his support, his guidance, his mastery and expertise, with his incredible love for you as a human soul to find whatever this is that you're seeking. Good. Or you could also invite him to show you that sign of the leopard throughout the rest of your day or week, to play, to say hello, to start building this relationship with him. Good. And now just gently allowing him to leave his peace with you, thanking him with gratitude for showing up at your request, knowing that you can continue to know him over time, that this is just your first or an early experience. And just imagine him gently taking one giant step right out of your personal space bubble. So he's still nearby, but not directly blended in. And take a few breaths here and see if you can feel that very, very subtle discernment, that subtle difference of him taking that giant step out of your field, but still nearby. Do you still feel him on the same side, in the same place? Good. And then imagine slowly witnessing, sensing him drifting easily back in the direction that he approached, like a light, softly moving off, 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 off into the distance. Good. Saying goodbye. Now returning your awareness to the center of your own head, center of your own space, feeling maybe just a grain more of peace, residual peace in your own space. Good. Maybe your mind has calmed a little bit. Maybe your heart has calmed a little bit. Good. And just start to allow your awareness to return fully to the conscious waking state. And when you feel ready, you can gently blink your eyes, coming all the way back to me. Good. Good. And blink your eyes a little bit, letting yourself get adjusted back into this fully waking state out of this meditative exercise. Good. And when I ask for guidance or inspiration or help finding something lost, it's very rare that the inspiration will pop in during the exercise or the meditation. For me, it's most likely that I'll receive that inspiration later. You guys have all probably now heard me say sometimes while I'm tidying up or doing dishes or doing laundry, what have you. The other day, I was seeking some inspiration and I suddenly got the intuition, the nudge from my body, you need to move your body. And it was not the best weather out. And I was like, oh, I don't want to go outside. I don't want to go down to the gym. And so I was like, okay, well, I'm just going to spend, I've got a 30-minute break. I'm just going to walk around the house, tidying up and doing some organization. And during that little 30-minute period, while I was moving my physical body just around my own space, tidying up, I received so much inspiration. And then I was kind of quickly making some notes in my phone. As you guys know, I love that note section of my phone, and continuing moving my body. And so for you, sometimes it might happen that way as well. Sometimes when we're trying to think really hard for that inspiration, it's almost like we can't see it and we need to shift our focus so that it can slide in from the side. So I'm so curious to hear your experience with this. I know so many of you, thank you for sharing with me that you're loving this Archangel series. As many of you might know, for me, Archangels were such a beautiful entry into this work. They just felt so safe to me. I felt like I understood and had references from the time I was a child for that type of loving, positive, angelic energy. So I didn't have that kind of pre programmed fear about it. So it was just such an easy transition, or a comfortable transition, I guess I should say. All of it's simple, but not necessarily feels easy when we start to do it. So I love that you guys are loving this too. This is some of the first work that I did many, many years ago. So it's really fun to get to share it. I didn't know that I'd ever share this part. It feels so personal and near and dear to my heart, I'll say. So thanks for being here, and thanks for letting me know that you love these. We will do another in our series of archangels soon. And again, let me know if there are other topics that you want to hear about, if you have questions. I'm always compiling questions for our Ask a Medium Anything episodes. And you guys are each of you, valuable, important souls as part of this speakeasy community, my spirit squad out there. And I really do appreciate and have so much gratitude for you guys listening, for just the energetic contribution that you're giving, whether you ever reach out to me and ask a question or give a share or not. Your energetic contribution is so, so valuable, and each of you are equally valuable. So I hope that you have enjoyed this. I hope it's opened your mind just a little bit. Please, if you want to share with me your experiences, including anything you're learning or receiving in signs. I'm putting together a signs episode still, as many of you know. And I hope that whenever you're listening to this, when it's going to be released and when I'm recording it is early June, but whether you're, slipping into summer, or if you are in the Southern Hemisphere and it is deep into winter for you, just know that you are so valuable and important. And I'm hoping that Archangel Chamuel can help us all, each in our individual ways, move through this transition phase of this year and any of the transition phases that we're moving through, to help us find peace on very personal level, but also peace to bring into all of the spaces and places in our lives. And of course, globally, infusing peace into even the darkest and most challenging situations, and helping all of us find peace and compassion wherever we go. Big hugs, lots of love. Bye for now from inside Spirit Speakeasy.